evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fan Experience Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mike Katos. Alongside me is my co-host, Rick Molina. Rick, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing well, Mike. We got Titans Colts on. We got some Masters golf earlier today. We got a lot to talk about in the world of Major League Baseball with the awards. So, ready to get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You could start it off with what you wanna go with. I'll let you open it up.
I wanted to start off with just some of the awards going out there today, and this one kind of shocked me. I thought Mookie Betts had a great year, but looks like Freddie Freeman beats out Mookie Betts and Manny Machado for NL MVP. He got 28 of the 31st place ballots, so that's pretty impressive. Mookie Betts, got two of the first to finish second, and then Manny Machado. Listen, he had a great year, man. I mean, from the stats I was seeing, he kind of started off slow, but he, 341 with 13 home runs and 53 RBIs, and he played in all 60 games. I mean, that's just, an incredible for 60 games. And look, good for him. But definitely kind of, thought Mookie Betts was going to get it there with how he played, but I mean, this is great for Atlanta. Another guy who gets the MVP. He followed in Chipper Jones' footsteps, and Chipper Jones won it in 1999. So it goes to show. And then in the American League, Jose Abreu, he won it. So that's well deserving. That kid,
19 homers, 60 RBIs.
Yeah, that kid plays really well. So it fares well for a lot of these guys in baseball, man. Different guys winning this award, new stars coming about. So that's
what keeps it all interesting. If it's the same person every single year.
I mean, that's the one thing that baseball is missing is that star, that Jeter, that A-Rod. I mean, you have Mookie Betts. Mike Trout is kind of sort of, but they're missing that one sort of A-list star. But these guys, Jose Abreu and Freeman winning the awards, kudos to them. Great job this year.
Yeah, I feel like the diversification and all these people on the come up, every other year, I think it makes it a lot more exciting. I don't think we need that one superstar that's ahead of the league, ahead of everybody else. So, I like it how it gets changed up. Let's talk about, pitchers a little bit. So we got the Cy Youngs, Shane Bieber wins it for the Cleveland Indians in the AL. And I don't know, part of me is salivating over here that the NL Cy Young winners, Trevor Bauer, and Jacob deGrom's already on the Mets. And, there's a lot of gushing from Sandy Alderson and, a lot of great talk around the league about how much they want Trevor Bauer. And, don't get me wrong, he had a Cy Young Award year this year, but, his career stats aren't like Jacob deGrom's career stats.
Right. No, of course not. Yeah.
But, it's still, it's still something to look forward to if we can have, two of the two past Cy Young winners leading that rotation. That would be something to watch. And obviously Thor coming back. Stroman just re-signed yesterday.
18 million.
And you know what? I'm loving this. I'm loving this guy, Cohen, man. I mean, he's sitting there going back and forth with his players and going back and forth with Stroman on Twitter, something that could have been in an email, but he's sitting there and he's putting it out there on Twitter and just having normal conversations with his players. So, that's definitely something the Wilpons didn't do.
No, right. Absolutely.
Not many owners do it in general, but I like how he's just, he's out there and he's, he's not hiding behind, his money really. He's just,
and he's putting his money where his mouth is, right? And then here's the thing: if you saw his press conference the other day where he said about Trevor Bauer, they want to bring in a guy like that can teach, players on that team a winning culture, a professionalism and attitude, and that's what you need. It's kind of like when the Yankees brought over Garrett Cole. They felt that Garrett Cole could, teach some of these guys the winning ways, how to win, how to prepare, how to do things. So, I think if the Mets were to get Trevor Bauer, I mean, you got Thor coming back. I mean, you got, Syndergaard, you got DeGrom over there.
Let's be real. Obviously he's kind of a mixture. Bauer's kind of a mixture of Thor and DeGrom.
Right.
He's got some of DeGrom's skills, and he's got Thor's attitude. Right. So they're like it's kind of nice if that was their 1-2-3 punch.
And think about that rotation, right? 1, 2, 3. You get into a playoff,
and then Strowman's 4. I mean, that's
4, right. But think about that. You get into a 7-game series, and you got those guys coming at you every other day. I mean, that's tough to beat. And if you can get like like George Springer, like they were saying, if you can get somebody like that, get a couple more.
I think we will.
Right, so you get a couple more bats in the lineup. All of a sudden, man. The Mets are within like a year. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be a lot of teams that want to pay up for Springer, and I think Cohen's money goes a lot farther. So,
well, listen, there's a team in New York that wants Trevor Bauer, and they're in the Bronx.
Yep.
Don't sleep on that, man. Don't sleep on the lure of the Yankees. But these awards are great. New guys winning, fresh faces. That's what baseball needs. They need younger guys out there to enhance the game. And then baseball's got to be a little more, loose in their sort of like with celebrating and all that stuff, and just bring new players, bring a new generation of fans into the game.
And swinging 3-0 should be celebrated.
Yeah,
not criticized. In other news, Derrick Henry is still a beast.
Tennessee's up 7-3 for those of you who are just tuning in
and driving here. So let's see. They might put a couple more points on the board. All right, let's take a quick word from our sponsor and bring our guest on after that. Yeah. All right. Okay, hold on here. I don't know what's not changing. Okay. You could start it off.
Yeah, support for the fan experience.
Thing fixed.
Okay, well, support for the fan experience is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Folks, I can attest to that personally. There was a time there when I just let it go. Just say, you know what? Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not leaving the house. I'm trapped. I'm quarantined. I can't go anywhere. What's the point? And then you know what I decided to do? I decided to try Manscaped because I needed a trim. I needed to treat my most prized possession with the care it needed. And that's why Manscaped has a redesigned electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 right here in the U.S. I mean, their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Think about that, folks. Before, you could slice yourself open. Now, no need to worry.
Yeah, absolutely. And and let's be honest, guys and girls, the holiday season is right around the corner. Are you looking for the perfect gift for your partner this holiday season? We have the perfect package for his perfect package. The Perfect Package 3.0 by Manscaped is the #1 recommended gift all year long. Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 3.0, which is the best men's below-the-belt grooming trimmer, which can also be used on any part of the body. Hairy chest or back? Look no further. Hair down there? The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 is designed to reduce cuts and make for a smooth trim. And the 7,000 RPM trimmer has helped reduce manscaping accidents around the world. In addition, you'll find other liquid formulations inside the Perfect Package, such as the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner with reduced chafing boxer briefs. And guys, they are comfortable, man. Oh,
yeah,
I got it.
I'm not gonna lie. I wore them last week. They're pretty good.
I want more. I mean, let's just be real. Yeah. I want. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free. So your manhood is in good hands. Now, save 20% off plus free shipping with the code FANEXPERIENCE at manscaped.com. Give your testes the besties with Manscaped.
That's manscaped.com, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Manscaped, for supporting the program. All right. Now, joining us, she is the founder and CEO of She Plays and also the host of the podcast for She Plays as well, Miss Ashley Hart.
Hi.
Ashley, how are you?
I'm so excited to be here. It's tough to follow that advertisement, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you have a sponsor. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's That's been unanimous. Everyone says that same thing. So thank you very much. We are definitely happy that they sponsored the program. But enough about Manscaped. Let's let's talk. It's gonna take a shift. We're gonna talk about a lot of women and female sports to come. But let's start it off at the beginning. So where did your love for sports? I know you're born and raised in North Carolina, correct?
Born in Gainesville, but yeah, raised in North Carolina.
Okay. So tell us about who you rooted for growing up and some of those fan experiences that you experienced along the way that got you hooked.
Yeah, so almost my entire family went to the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels, and so grew up a major Tar Heel fan. I remember 1994 when they won the championship. We had to go upstairs to go to bed. My aunt was with us. She was down in the basement watching, and we could I had the radio going so I could hear it. And I was 8, and we could hear her screaming when they won, like just elation through the floors. I mean, it was amazing. So, and then we all ran downstairs and like jumped around. But I love to tell the story of how growing up in North Carolina, I really had female role models I could look up to. I mean, I knew who Mia Hamm was the same time I knew who Michael Jordan was, just because of where I lived, and they were such a dynasty. And so I really, in talking with other people around the country, that's a unique experience of having females you can remember from such a young age. But yeah, I grew up playing sports, soccer, basketball. I dabbled in golf a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I think most of my memories do revolve around the Tar Heels or the Panthers when they came to be. A long-standing grudge I still have with the Patriots when they beat us in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I'm now a Wake Forest. I went to Wake Forest, so my allegiances have shifted. But those are good memories to look back on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, is Jordan like this? He's just like an icon still over in that area.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I had his poster on my wall. There's people who will tell you, you could probably go a whole week and hear 6 or 7 people talk about a Michael Jordan story.
Wow.
Especially during basketball season. But when the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament were happening, our teachers rolled in TVs, and that's what we did for class. Like things kind of stopped during that time of the year. So it's definitely king here, and the loyalties run deep. We always had the wear your sports team shirt for school day, and people got in each other's faces. So
that's awesome.
That's always fun. Yeah. First of all, again, Ashley, thank you for coming on. I'm curious. Now, I'm not sure if you did gymnastics, but you talk about the Kerry Strug landing. I remember watching that. When she did that with a broken ankle, right? It was like the second vault, and she nailed it and won the gold. Tell us about that. Like, what were your thoughts and emotions while you were watching that?
Yeah, so that was 96.
Yeah, it was 96 in Atlanta, right?
Yep, in Atlanta, and I'm never a gymnast, but that was just such an amazing Olympic story, that team. And yeah, there is something special about the Olympics, but that moment when you knew she was in pain, like you were seeing the grimacing before she took off. And vault is not an easy task. It is, you're full force on the thing and to jump and then to land it, and she stuck it so solidly. It was just like, I remember seeing that and being like, she just did something impossible. I feel like she just overcame so much adversity in that one moment. It was so inspiring. The Olympics bring out the best in people, I think. It's just such a fun competition to watch.
No, it is. And those moments are great. As you look about women's sports, when you look back on it, has it amazed you the acceleration of how fast it grew? Like from, let's say, 90, when the women's team, I believe it was in 98 that they won the World Cup.
99, yeah.
99 when they won the World Cup. I mean, just the acceleration of how it's taken off with the Williams sisters in tennis, and then you got the WNBA, and you got all these leagues and all this stuff forming now. I mean, tell us about that. Like I don't know about you, but I'm just like, I see this just like accelerating pace of like women's sports being so dominating as we get into the next sort of decade over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on that trajectory. I feel like, the tennis has been, since Billie Jean King and the other people in her, generation who fought for equal pay, they've really kind of set the tone for women's leagues. You've had a number of basketball leagues come through. But in this last couple of years, for sure, people have just started investing in women's sports. And when you put it on TV, people will watch. When you make it accessible, people do show up and they care about it. And so it's been an amazing year for women's sports, being the first league to go back and to have a successful mini season in a bubble, to having like record breaking broadcast numbers and viewership. There's this feeling of excitement, and like the rocket is, on the launch pad, ready to go in the industry. And it's very exciting. It's well deserved. It's been generations that have fought for it, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even just, the women's leagues. Women are breaking into a lot. What was, traditionally the men's sports. I mean, you got female coaches in the NFL, you got female coaches in the MLB, you got, a woman, put up for a head coaching position in the NBA. I mean, it's, they're just slowly creeping in. And, I personally feel like that there's going to be, a female baseball player, someday soon, and I'm excited to see it. I want my daughters to see it as well, to show them, because obviously, there's a lot of female sports fans, like we all know that, but to have a female actually playing in a Major League Baseball game, and what that would do to the sport and to all the sports that they're going to be involved in, it'll just go through the roof at that point as well. And it'll go to show everyone that everyone's equal. Everyone could play at the somebody put down female refs. Yes, there's female referees as well. So I definitely love the fact that there's a lot more equality, and women are being taken more seriously in the sports world. So talk to us a little bit about why you wanted to start She Plays, and what you saw in the market that you wanted to be like, I want to showcase all these these women's leagues. So to talk to us about that epiphany and that origin story.
Yeah, so it really came at a time when I was changing careers and had the luxury of saying, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to build? And it kept coming back to the sports industry. I think just, again, the love as a kid, and just finding so much inspiration in it. And I was in North Carolina at the time trying to watch the Orlando Pride soccer team that's down in Florida, obviously. And it was, a couple years after they had won the World Cup in 2015. And I still couldn't find it on TV. I couldn't find a good stream. And it was like, why is this so hard when they just set a record on viewership for soccer in this country? They won the World Cup. Why is this still so hard? This shouldn't be this hard. And so really got into, kind of the nitty gritty of the argument of equal pay and sponsor, that requires sponsorship money. And so started to try to think, well, what could drive viewership engagement where that argument kind of goes out the window? What's missing that's there on the men's side that could help the women's game grow? And I was really shocked to see that fantasy sports weren't a thing. Like, it wasn't in a place. DraftKings, FanDuel had some WNBA, some leagues had tried some stuff on their own. WTA actually has really great fantasy. But there was no place for fans to go and engage. And even on top of that, the news coverage it was 4% of sports media attention. They're 40% of the athletes, but they only get 4% of the sports media attention. And so it just kind of came to be, okay, it's not there. I'm not a tech person, so let's build a team to help make it happen. And, my niece, who was a baby at the time, in 20 years, could she have a career here in the country, or would she have to go elsewhere? Whereas if I had a nephew, it'd be no question. Can we build that for her and kids like her and the current athletes who, kick butt and they deserve it? So Yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. Sorry, long answer, but
No.
No, well, that was perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So talk to us about how it works. Obviously it's she-plays.com. Just walk us through, if somebody goes to the site, how does it all go?
Yeah, well, I will say real quick that we were in the process of building an app, so that in 2021 we can really have that season-long play that people love for fantasy football and baseball. So we're going to be building that for next year. But right now, and coming up in January, the hockey season will begin. And so over the summer, we were running some games where you go to the site, you log in, or you create an account. It's free, totally free to play. And then before game days, in WNBA, we were running daily games. For NWSL, we were running games every week. And it was just kind of like a beta test. So it's still in the process of being built. But we were really excited with people who we had come on and soccer fans who started and then transitioned to watching the WNBA because we had games, which was the hope that you bring them to one place and they'll start interacting with each other and follow all of them. So right now, though, we're trying to be content heavy, really bringing podcast episodes each week, news content. We're going to be starting some video content as well. And then in January, having those daily type games back on for hockey as we await the release of the season-long app games.
Nice. And you're doing it for everything, right? Softball, baseball, soccer, hockey, basketball, like all sports out there that UFC, everything?
Yeah, so we've been doing some pick'em for UFC and stuff like that. I mean, I think the beauty of getting to do it via our website that we have right now is we can put a game up in 5 minutes and have it ready to go. So we do try to cover everything that's live that we can get stats for. That is something that I will bring to the discussion, is just that something that can improve for women's league, something that still is needed for that trajectory we were talking about is investment in statistics. And so we do need these huge stat providers to kind of just take the leap and say, all right, we're going to follow and we're going to provide this. I guarantee you people will come and pay for those fees. So, about where we can have those and get those, we're putting games out as we can.
Yeah. Ashley, what can, let's say like Mike and myself at our show, other people, what more can be done to increase the viewership in women's sports? I mean, look, in tennis, you have Serena. She draws a big crowd. I mean, WWA, you got some great players. I mean, when you have these like World Cup events, like the world watches, but then when kind of like it subsides, right? It's just people kind of go. So what can be done to sort of increase viewership in these leagues?
Great question. And thank you for asking that. I think it really is just show up. If I know that this summer, especially, there were lots of games for the WNBA on ESPN and CBS. And so when you see it on, turn it on and I guarantee you'll be entertained. And when you can go back into stadiums and arenas, just try out a game and you'll want to go back. I promise. It's amazing quality. I mean, the WNBA has 144 spots. And that's it. That's how many roster spots they have. So you have stars coming out of the NCAA that don't make a WNBA team.
Wow.
So it's good quality basketball. And then you have the best soccer players in the world are playing in our league. You have the softball leagues that have Olympians. I mean, the MPF has teams that are made up of Olympic national teams. The AU softball league had them playing this summer. A whole new league started. So it really is, showing up, tuning in. On Twitch, there's a lot of streaming now, especially hockey. Hockey will stream every game on Twitch. So just tune in and check it out.
Awesome. I was thinking, like, is there a women's, like video games, like WNBA video games? Because I know they have, NBA galore. And all these different games for men's sports, but I can't recall if there's a WNBA video game. But that all starts, that all attracts children, and if you can get those younger girls to start playing a WNBA game, or I know FIFA, I'm pretty sure they have the women's teams in FIFA, but that it starts with that. It starts with really the media and the programming that's out there, there's a lot more movies and TV shows about about men's teams and men's success stories, and these basketball teams that come from nothing, like a Coach Carter and the one that Ben Affleck was just in, and things like that. But and even the Sandlot, all boys, like how about a all women Sandlot? I think they actually are talking about an all women's
awesome.
Sandlot.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
To come.
They are bringing back League of Their Own for a TV show, so that'll be
Are they?
awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
But yes, you have a League of Their Own. You had a couple of, but not for nothing, they were like Disney, Nickelodeon type of movies, like those Bring It Ons and the not Air Bud. It was the one where they had like the twins or something playing. But those
Double
were
Trouble,
kiddie,
Double
but those were not serious movies.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's where it starts. Like you need to show these kids at a younger age, that this is legit, and this is a real league. This does need a lot of media attention, and I believe that that's where it all starts. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there are any standalone games, but a sports reporter he follows the WNBA, just put out a great news article about how the NBA 2K21,
2K, something like that. Yeah,
has new features for women, so you can actually like create your own player and play her when you go online. It's not just your local console, and so there have been some great improvements there, which is exciting because that is true. Like I remember playing video games and you want to buy the jersey or you want to go like do that move. It's so cool when you see little kids, boys and girls, look up to athletes. And we saw a lot this summer with Sabrina Ionescu, or really last spring with the Oregon Ducks, and a lot of soccer players, getting jerseys worn by little kids. And it's like, oh yeah, go make that goal just like that girl. It's just so cool to see, because when you it's out there as a potential, you can believe in yourself a little bit stronger. It's not like it actually is an option. And so that's so important. Representation is so important, especially in sports.
Yeah. And what, another one that comes to mind is the show Pitch. I loved it. And they canceled it after one season.
I know.
It was number one. It was a great show. It was great. And, it showed, this girl, obviously, that looks like, normal girl. And, she comes up and, she's on a Major League Baseball team. And, like even a fictional show, they can't even make it past one season, to really showcase this and put it out there. So that was very disappointing. But supposedly Netflix there was talks about Netflix maybe picking it up one day, but
that'd be great.
I really hope that's the case. But I know that Mark Paul Gosselaar is busy with Saved by the Bell now. He's like the mayor of California in the Saved by the Bell reboot. Unbelievable.
But it's really interesting that I just thought of this. When you talk about women's sports movies too, they tend to focus around dramatic events. So like Tanya, the Tanya Harding story, or I'm totally blanking on the name, but the one about Billie Jean King playing in
with the guy in like 1977 or whatever. What was his name? I can't remember his name.
Is it Jimmy something?
Something like, he was like a comedian who said I could beat a girl doing anything, and he got wiped out or something, right?
And it's Bobby. It's Bobby something. He was a tennis player, but he was also kind of a smart aleck. But it's really kind of those specific moments that, they go into detail. But I would love to see, what's that like Cinderella team that, went off? Let's talk about their whole season. Let's like show. Yeah. Just, I don't know. I think you're right that's missing.
Yeah. It's funny, recently they've been talking about the money in sports, right? And especially on the women's side with equal pay and all that stuff. And where does that stand right now? Like it's tough, like for professional sports, if you're a professional and you get in there, you can make great money, right? You get all these like perks and you make these contracts. But for women, it's tough to keep a professional career because they're not paying them. So where does that stand now in terms of the money side of the sport? Is it increasing? Like, what are they doing to sort of like sort of make this, make it equal on both sides?
Yeah. So sorry.
No.
For U.S. soccer, it's still in court.
Okay.
As far as leagues go, I mean, I was speaking with someone today.
Bobby Riggs, that was his name.
Bobby Riggs, that's right.
Yeah.
I was speaking with someone today who was commenting that they felt super valued by a league that was able to pay for their laundry during the season when they were like in a bubble. And when that is kind of that's a marker of like a great increase in what people are able to invest in the players.
Yeah.
I hope a lot of men hear that and they're like, what? Like, that's even a question? Something that little, like, and laundry in a bubble is different than regular season. Like, they're not asking for that. But there's still a long ways to go, I would say. And that was part of the thing, again, with my niece, like, and it's not a knock on men, but my niece right now, she could grow up and depending on which sport, she'd have to have a second job.
Yeah.
It'd be like a passion for her. And when she retires, she'll have to have a second career. And as a lot of athletes can tell you, that's really hard to do, to make that transition.
Yeah.
So, I think we've seen improvements. There's no doubt about that. We've seen sponsors come in and, take the risk, like Budweiser last year, and they've seen amazing results. So, I think there are strides that are being made, but I think we still have a long way to go.
And what would so for the average, person who says, well, these leagues are, Major League Baseball and what have you, they're obviously out there, just so they can understand what the difference in salary. What would you say like the average salary is for like a person playing in like, let's say, professional soccer in the U.S. on a women's side?
Oh man. So my numbers are probably rusty, but I feel like the most recent number I remember for like average salary. I'm totally gonna get this wrong.
That's okay.
I want to say like $19,000.
Wow.
Maybe.
That is
for a season. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't live off
maybe
that.
That's minimum. That might be minimum.
Wow.
But and like even the superstars though, their base salary does come from US Soccer, but I think that's like $130,000.
Yeah, but then you can't you can't live off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows a big difference, right? And WNBA too, even the difference in the superstars, it's millions and like, double digit millions to like on a salary, not even $1 million. So, forgive me, anyone who's watching and I'm getting those wrong, please let me know.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stark difference for sure. And the thing I'll say too, like, as far as like looking at audience and viewership, I think what people don't realize is Major League Baseball has been around for a century, right? Over a century, I think.
More than 1870?
Yeah, like 100 and
150 years.
150 years, yeah. And like the softball league's been around for 10. If you look at numbers of who's watching that compared to, obviously there's TV now, but even with the NBA, the NBA got tax subsidy money to come into fruition. The WNBA has had none of that. And the numbers of where we're at with the WNBA far exceed what was happening with the NBA at that time. So again, that's like a different decade. So you have more accessibility. But I think what people don't understand is they're making the right marks, right? Like they're hitting the records of when these men's leagues were this young. So I think we just have to say, it takes time, but it takes people investing too. And just saying it's worth the investment because there's no difference. There's no difference in what they're doing and putting out on the field.
Well, I think definitely what you're doing is going to bring major exposure. If you can do fantasy, that means you can bet. If you can bet, there's money involved and that brings eyes to the leagues. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. I mean, we know as fans ourselves, it's something we want, but it's just a great way the community is so passionate and loyal. And so we're really excited. Everyone wants to the same way you do with like your NFL team of like, oh, I'm the only one that gets Drew Brees or whoever.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that gets Megan Rapinoe on my soccer team. So come at me, like we're going to kick your butt this week.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got a proposal. So like, how about this? She buys a soccer team. Playing the field buys a soccer team. There we go. There's two soccer teams. Invest some money into there. And
one day that's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, we want to do it too. We want to definitely own a team one day. And I'm obviously to really spearhead that and keep that trajectory going for the women's sports. Absolutely, anything we can do. So talk to us a little bit about your podcast.
Yes.
I know you have a couple, so just go with the She Plays one first.
Sure. Yeah, the She Plays one is really, we want people to learn about the women's side of the sports industry. So we have athletes, coaches, broadcasters. We do talk about like gender equality on that podcast when we have a professional who's relevant, and just the strides that people continue to make to help it grow. So yeah, we just had Yulia Stoliarenko, a UFC fighter champ, on our podcast this week. And we've gotten to talk with a lot of people involved in a lot of different sports. And so really, really proud of that one. Excited for guests that we have upcoming. And then our second one we just launched a month ago is called Sports Break. And it kind of came out of COVID, missing. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but don't you just miss your game day family? Like you just miss your people who are like, I just want to sit here and talk about sports. Like, like how did this player do this week? What's going on?
Exactly why we're here.
Exactly.
Drinking beers and wings and talking sports. Yeah.
And so we took that and said, there got to be people across the world but this country that we could reach out to who don't work in the sports industry, but have this shared love of sports. And so it's been really neat to hear people from, we had an actress in our first episode and she helped start a pickup basketball league out in LA.
Wow.
And it's like all women, comedians, actresses, all sorts of stuff. They have like halftime shows. It's crazy. And I was like, yeah, of course, like adults play pickup that are in different professions. It's just like a cool way to be like, yeah, what did sports teach you? How are they valuable to society? And they've been really fun to bring people on and talk about. They're non-professional sports careers, we call it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly what we're trying to do with Playing the Field. Is we're trying to to get those people together. People from all walks of life. With that shared love of sports, whether it's for friendship or for romance. It doesn't matter. Just that community aspect and the fact that sports is a one of the world's best unifiers. It's like a universal language, and everyone just they get each other, and they realize they're a lot more alike than they are different. So as far as your podcast, so like I know the She Plays one has been going a little longer. So who's somebody that you loved interviewing, and who's somebody that you want to interview that you have not gotten on yet?
Oh man, okay. My memory, I'm gonna have to pull up some lists. But the one
you can give like a list of 5 or whatever. Not single anybody out.
Look, I'm gonna blame it on COVID, as I blame everything these days. Of my memory just is gone. The person I would really love to interview, I think obviously Serena. She would be a dream, and Billie Jean King. I just think when I think of who's done the most for women in sports, it's her. 100%. She's just continuing to lead the way there. Okay, I'm pulling up my list.
No, don't.
No, because we've had some fun people. I will say, I loved getting to talk about the NWHL. I'm just becoming a hockey fan, and I got so into it. So Anya Packer joined us. She runs the Players Association. We got to talk to Catherine Switzer, who I don't know if you know that name, but she was the first woman to register and run the Boston Marathon. And she had to register under an initial because women weren't technically allowed to run.
And
there's that picture of the guy trying to push her off.
Yeah. That's
she
incredible.
was a beast. She was fun. And then just like a recent one, we did talk to Christine Sommer from the U.S. rugby team. And so that's another sport that is slowly growing in popularity here. It's becoming more of a youth and grassroots sport too. But that was really cool to hear about what they're doing and, you know, where rugby is so big across the world, where we kind of fit in. So,
yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
one more. Sorry. I gotta share it. One more.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Ultra running. That is not in my vocabulary before I interviewed this person, ultra running. But Carla Molinaro, she ran the length of the United Kingdom or Great Britain, I guess, from the bottom in England to the top of Scotland during quarantine.
Wow.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So those are just a few of the highlights.
You know who I would love to interview if two women athletes I think of him. Well, one's not an athlete, one was a coach. I mean, before she passed, but Pat Summitt. Because when you think of Pat Summitt, like I think of her as this like beyond, like just this above, like this just like aura about Pat Summitt as she was with the Tennessee. They used to win the title every year, and she was just an incredible coach. Like she set the standard for coaching before like Gino Auriemma and a lot of these guys that are out there. And then the second one would be like Steffi Graf, because she was just like one of the most dominant tennis players I've ever seen in my life. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch Wimbledon at home, and just all the time she was just dominant. So like for me, two people I would look was Pat Summitt and Steffi Graf. I mean, they were just trendsetters when I was growing up.
Well, and the cool thing about Pat Summitt, you should definitely read her book if you haven't, her autobiography.
Yeah.
But what I love, and I think what is the mark of an amazing coach, is she still has players that like Candace Parker out in LA who still to this day, they would do anything she asked of them. You know, they'd run through a brick wall for her. And I love when you hear about that kind of relationship. And she was definitely Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah, indeed. Awesome. And then final question, do you see, and I know we're talking about a lot of women's sports, but as in the executive ranks of, let's say, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, pro hockey, obviously the pro sports, can you see in the next 5 years a woman being a general manager, being a president of a team? Do you see it happening? Because I think so. I mean, I think eventually it's gonna come to fruition. Or do you see a woman hopefully being a commissioner of one of these leagues in the next 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think absolutely. I think we have to believe in ourselves enough. I think sometimes we can think like, oh, I don't know. Yes, I think that when it's the opposite, and even when we were talking about coaches earlier, you know, it's never a question, can a man coach a women's team?
Right.
But it's always like a big deal of like, oh, can a woman coach this men's team? And it should be the same in business, right? So like you want to own a team? Great. You want to be a commissioner? Great. So yeah, I'm excited for that day. I think it will come for sure.
Awesome. And so one final question for me as well. So pretend you got, you know, a genie in a bottle, right? You got 3 wishes, you know, money's no object. No, you know, what are the 3 things that you would wish for that you personally feel will expand the women's sports brand? Okay.
Ooh. So I want more teams in all of the leagues. WNBA only has 12 teams. And so.
Wow, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I thought it was more. Oh,
NWSL is adding to the big one in LA and Louisville, who had their expansion draft tonight. But yeah, just more teams, so more players can play. And I think so. I think that would be one.
Yeah.
And NWHL just added a team in Toronto. So okay, that would be one. 2, just sponsors jumping on board, really like infusing that cash. They're gonna reap reward from it. So, you know, put money in, and especially the fan base. I mean, women make 80% of the purchases in this country.
Wow.
So, you know, show them that you're loyal and they'll be loyal to you. So that would be a second.
Yeah.
Oh man. 3rd. Here's the dream. Okay, this is just my dream.
Yeah,
this will be my answer.
There you go. You got a genie.
An exclusive here on the Fan Experience podcast. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, so part of the thought of like what we work for every day is that I will be in a sports bar one day when we can all be back in them again, and I will randomly pass two people, and a guy's in the conversation, we'll say that,
Okay.
and they're talking about Sam Kerr, or they're talking about a player that people in the know, but it's maybe someone who's just like seen a news report or like caught the end of that game and saw that amazing play.
Yeah.
It becomes second nature to talk about these athletes and these leagues because it's everywhere. So that's what we work for every day. So the dream is that, yeah, those conversations are happening, that no one has to look up who the like fifth person on this WNBA team is, because we all know who they are. We have them on our fantasy team, right? So
yeah, exactly. No, hey, those were awesome answers, and hopefully that genie comes soon, and I'm sure it will. So thank you very much for
Ashley, thank you
coming
so much.
on.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, best of luck. Oh, and everybody out there, me and Ashley are both in a startup sprint competition. It's a bracket-based challenge for sports startups. I'm in with Playing the Field. Ashley's in with She Plays. It's at gameplanu.org, the letter U, gameplanu.org/sprint. Please vote for Playing the Field. Please vote for Ashley. Your support is greatly appreciated. Yeah. Ashley, thanks again for coming. Oh, yeah, you wanted to say something?
I was going to say, where, like, aside from the website, where else can they go to catch the podcasts?
Oh, yeah. So it's on every major streaming platform. We also post our video interviews on YouTube, and we're at She Plays Pro on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's she-plays.com, everybody, for the website. And all of the links are there as well.
Ashley, this was fun. Thanks for coming on tonight.
It was so fun. Thanks for having me. You guys do a great job. Keep it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And feel free to come back. So when you got some news, feel free to come back.
I'd love to. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, and good luck this week. Hope you win it.
Thank you. You too.
Right. Thanks.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Think about that though, but that's what's going to bring attention to these leagues and these sports, man. Like people love fantasy, they love to, and they'll make them household names. That's the thing. We got to like these sports. We got to make them household names, man, for them to grow. That's a shame though. That's $19,000 a year. Like that is.
Thank you for tuning in, Denise.
Thank you for tuning in, Denise. But that is criminal, man. Like you can't live off $19,000 a year. I mean, how do you expect these women to be like professional athletes, to have standouts, to have careers and families if you're only paying them $19,000 a year? Like that is like a crime, man. Like that's got to change. That's got to change.
And you know what? I mean, obviously, baseball started out like that, not 19,000. They were getting paid like $200 a year.
Right. But
$100 a year. But yeah, but that slowly evolved, and it, I mean. Just like 40 years ago, like it's when all these salaries skyrocketed, for the men's, and obviously football football still needs to get higher up there, but
I think also we live in a different age, right? There's more money out there than there's ever been. You have billionaires, you have people who are wealthier than they can be. I mean, they're buying teams for fun. They're like, oh, I'm gonna buy. I mean. Cohen because he wanted to buy the Mets, obviously, but some of these owners are just buying teams for fun. Like the money's out there, man. They just got to
purpose it to the right.
Yeah, they got to funnel that money in there, man, and they got to start putting some pressure on these companies to sponsor it, man, to get involved and stuff like that. That's where it is. That's where the pressure needs to be put politically and economically on these companies to start investing some money in this.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it. Everything has to play a part, everything has to play a part. And I think that we are on that upward trajectory to get there. And we just got to stay diligent. We just got to keep pushing. And, eventually those right people are going to sit there and they're going to sponsor into it. And they're going to dip in a lot more money into it. And it's going to come, I don't think it's that far away. But kudos to obviously the NBA, starting it in the first place, with the WNBA and trying to get it nationalized with women's sports. So, it's going to take those innovators,
Right.
that are out there to really just keep pushing it along, and we'll get there. I mean, look, Vince McMahon, I know, wrestling is a joke, but he puts a lot of effort into the divas.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just be real. Like I know
yeah.
it's, I know it's not really for the sports aspect, but it was, I mean, it's just something that he knows needs more recognition.
Yeah. Even like Dana White in the UFC, man. I mean, with Ronda Rousey and you have the Cyborg over there, like they put a big emphasis on that, and I think in boxing too, you have women's boxing. I mean, in tennis, obviously tennis, it enhances the game. Serena and all these other players or whatever enhances the game. I mean, I wish they would just do more, because you have 2 daughters. I mean, if they want to play professionally one day, they should be able to and make a nice salary doing it. I mean, if you have that gift, you should be able to be paid for it. And I wish they could do more, for that. So, but I mean, I'm stunned to hear that was $19,000. Like, that just shocked me. I can't believe that. That's incredible. That's just like, that's not sustainable.
That's where the inequality comes in, and everyone's gonna have to just stay diligent, and that's all we can do at this point. We got a lot of praise for this episode.
Oh, thank you, Denise. Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Much obliged. Thank you. But it's just true, man. I mean that this is like, I remember we had Julie on earlier. She was talking about her wrestling talking about how they're trying to grow the game. I mean, I don't know why it's become so difficult.
Yeah, I mean, remember they didn't even have a women's team in their
college, right?
Remember, in high school, right?
Right.
High school.
Remember she was saying like in college, like the NCAA championship is going to take them like a few years. I was like, we're in 2020. Like, it doesn't register, man. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's something that has to change. I mean, it just has to change. And I think politically, and I think with these companies, it's got to change, man. It can't be just like the Olympics and they have a great moment and then we forget about them, because that's usually what happens. I mean, more investment needs to be made in these leagues where women can thrive, where they can show their skills, where people can see them. And also, like the big companies, ESPN and Fox Sports and all that, like they have to, they show it a lot, but I think it needs a little bit more eyes on it.
Yeah, I agree. And not for nothing, you go.
Yeah, as I think you froze on me over there. Yeah, it looks like you froze on me.
Men players.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you lost me? Okay.
Nah, yeah, we're good. We're back.
You really just have primarily the male players that are on the top cards, like in the corner store. Obviously, they make the female ones, but they're not showcased like like the male ones are. And it starts there. I mean, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, you hear that all the time. So if you're not putting in front of people, how are people going to know that it exists? How are people going to know that it needs help? And you start with the video games, you start with the kids there, you start with a little bit more serious women's sports movies. Obviously A League of Their Own was serious, but like the Double Troubles and things like that, that's that's kiddie stuff, so it's not going to go anywhere. You need things with substance. And I mean, TV and movies, they're called programs. They're paid programming. So if you start programming the kids with all these different stories and putting more emphasis on these women's sports, then they're going to grow up watching more women's sports. So I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, this was the tragedy of the passing of the great Kobe Bryant was he was a big advocate for women's sports. Huge for his daughter, for the WNBA. Like he was huge in that. And I think
his daughter could have like transcended the game.
Right, exactly.
In a few years.
Yeah, and I think that's where that loss really hurt, because I think he could have been a tremendous ambassador for the game, not just for women's basketball, but I think women's sports as a whole. And I think that he was kind of going in that direction where he was going to start advocating big time for that. I mean, he would have been a tremendous voice for women's sports as a whole, and it's just sad that got cut short. But yeah, I think so. change has to be made as far as pay goes. $19,000. That's awful, man. That is just
starts
criminal.
with the money that's going into it. So
yeah.
I mean, you can only pay them as much as they're making. So
yeah. Well, hopefully it changes and we can lend a voice to that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, it was a great episode. Great topics. Episode. You know, it's something that needs to be talked about. You know,
it does.
So we had to talk about it. So let's check in on this game. What do we got here? Is it 17-10?
It's 17-7 going into the half.
17-10, right? Or did they just score
17-10? I'm sorry, 17-10.
17-13. They just scored a field goal at halftime that the Colts did. So I mean, it's a 4-point game, a lot closer than I anticipated it to be at this point. But the Titans are a little banged up, so that's why they're not putting up the monster points. I got to pull up my Book It Sports app so I can get this spread.
Book It Sports. I got it on the App Store. Book It Sports.
Yes, Book It Sports is available on the Apple App Store now. Is it on Android yet? I did not see the update, but it should be within the next few days. But it is on the iOS App Store, and the Android version is on their website, bookitsports.app.
Yeah. So please, Trent, Nick, Dave, Olivia, great job, guys. I love the app.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So we got Sunday is what, the 15th, right? Yeah.
Sunday.
Okay. All right. So let's go with
Oh, I know. I got one.
Go.
The LA Chargers.
You're picking my team here.
On the road against Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 2.5. Mike, take it away.
It's Tua time.
Oh,
but it's Herbert time too. It's going to be a back and forth affair.
Okay.
But the Dolphins defense is the best scoring defense in the NFL right now. And I could see, maybe a turnover or two for Herbert. I mean, he's not perfect. But he has like, he's given up turnovers. Okay. He's not as bad as Jameis Winston, but the dude, he puts up the monster points, after the fact. But, I mean, it's not like his receivers help him much.
Oh,
unless he's throwing it to Keenan Allen.
Right.
It's a crapshoot.
Right.
But the Chargers have historically never traveled well to Miami. I know granted that's with Phillip Rivers for the past decade and a half. Yep. But I just think I think it's going to be a tough travel day for them. I think it's going to be a back and forth affair, the battle of the rookies. Tua did look good. Herbert, still looks great, but I think the defense of the Miami Dolphins gives them a little bit of an edge, and I think the Dolphins take this game. They're sneaky good, man. They're sneaky good.
Oh, no, Dolphins, they're sneaky good, but I'm going to go the opposite direction.
Okay, all right.
I'm going with Chargers. I'm going to tell you why. I mean, this is the third week. There's got a little more film on him now. Defenses have started adjusting a little to him. He's starting to be the man over there. Yes, Miami's defense is good, but I think the wide receivers of the Chargers owe Justin Herbert for last week dropping 2 touchdowns in the end zone. And I think he's going to go out and play like he has. He's going to light up the field. He's going to throw the ball all over the field. I think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're going to be in this game. And I think at the end they're going to pull it. He's just going to play well enough. He's going to play real well, to be honest. And they're going to win this game on the road. So I'm taking the Chargers to win outright, but then for the cover, the plus 2.5.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's I mean, that's what it's 2.5 point spread, right? Because it can go either way.
2.5, yeah. 2.5.
But that's why Vegas made it like that, because they know it can go either way, and it's not even a field goal of a spread. Yeah. Another interesting game, it's close to that in the spreads. So Cleveland is favored by 3.5 at home against Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb should be suiting back up. Obviously, Odell Beckham is gone for the year. Baker Mayfield had a little COVID scare, but he should be playing. Cleveland is coming off of a bye. And is Houston coming off a bye? No. They just played Jacksonville.
No.
I think that Deshaun Watson is going to win this game.
You know what? I look with all that's gone on with Houston. They're going into Cleveland. It'll probably be cold. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be freezing, but it's gonna be chilly. I'm taking the Browns.
Yeah, at the 3.5. Or
I'm taking the Browns minus 3.5 to win this game. I'm taking Cleveland minus 3.5. I just think that Houston's got a lot going on. They got a lot of turmoil. Sean Watson, who is that? Will Fuller's on there. He was making some comments about the Texans organization earlier this week. You know, you got J.J. Watt playing his last season because I don't think he's going to be back there next year. I just don't think they're the same team. And I think, listen, they're rolling. Cleveland has got a little thing going right now. They've been winning some games. What are they, 5-3? They're 5-3. They're 5-3 or 6-2.
The Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think they're 5-3.
Let me just take a look real quick. Cleveland Browns are, what's their record? Who knows? Yeah, I think they are 5-3. Okay, so they're 5-3. They're in the hunt for the playoffs. Baker's playing better. Yeah, they're 5-3. They're third in the AFC North.
Yeah, they got more to fight for. I'll give you that.
So I just think,
and it is off a bye. So I mean,
right. So they're rested and they're at home.
And Nick Chubb is back, but he's going to be wearing a knee brace supposedly.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be a game where, listen, they're going to control the ball, and they just, I think the Texans are going to win this game. So I'm going with Cleveland on that one.
Okay. So let's
do the third game.
So you saying, Will Fuller saying some things about the Texans.
I believe
but there's
I read. Yeah.
There's another team with wide receivers talking about, their quarterback and talking about, some of the things they're not happy with. And good old Tampa Bay is falling apart because, you got Mike Evans saying things because, that nobody really likes the fact that he's trying to force the ball to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's living in Brady's house. He's paying, they feel like he's paying attention to Brown and it's, like to hell with the other guys. And I mean, that's
see that coming, man.
That's a lot of turmoil. However, they are playing the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. They are favored by 5.5. And I remember when Tom Brady lost by like 35 or 40 to the Kansas City Chiefs, a few years back, got embarrassed. And what did he do the very next day? He just took the next team to school. Tampa Bay and Tom will find a way to put up monster points against the Carolina Panthers this week with, no matter how he has to figure it out, but he's going to put up those points and he's going to win this game handily.
Too many mouths to feed over there, man.
Agreed, but I mean, I can't see it being 2 games in a row, and
a lot of
I just don't see
going
it.
On.
Yes,
a lot of noise over there, and you want to know what? Don't be surprised if Carolina pulls the upset here.
No McCaffrey, but
I'm going to take Carolina plus 5.5.
Okay, I mean, it's a valid spread there.
So I'll take Carolina plus 5.5 on that one.
What do we got? Do we have?
And then we got one local.
Yes, because the Jets cannot lose this week. Everybody,
correct.
They cannot lose. The
They're
Jets,
on a bye week.
Yes,
but one game before we get to the local game.
Yeah,
it'll be a good one. It's another 4:00 game. The 4:00 games this week are going to be pretty good.
Okay, what do we got?
I love Buffalo at Arizona. Josh Allen against Kyler Murray.
Okay, that's a good one.
Arizona's favored minus 2.5. Your thoughts?
Traveling is never easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Kyler Murray, he's great and he's playing great, but and I know he has DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk's a beast, but I don't know. I like everything that the Buffalo Bills did last week, and I don't think the Arizona defense is really anything too stout. I think Buffalo wins this game.
Okay.
To really cement themselves into that AFC East top spot.
That's an interesting call.
Remember, I picked the Bills last week.
Yeah.
And you said, hell no. Russell Wilson's going to beat him by 10.
Yeah, I was wrong about that.
I think Josh Allen won by 10. So
yeah,
I'm going to, I mean,
well, listen.
My family would kill me if I picked not the Bills.
Yeah.
So.
I'm taking Arizona at home -2.5. I like Arizona at home.
Kenyon Drake might be coming back too.
Yeah, I like DeAndre Hopkins. That's gonna be fun against is that Tre'Davious White over there? I mean,
he got a little banged up in the last game too, so who knows what's gonna go on with Trey White there. If Trey White doesn't play, that changes a lot.
Yeah, but I still like Arizona.
Buffalo's defense isn't the greatest either. But I don't know. I think Buffalo can win this game, and it's an over under of 56.5. What do you have? Over
this
game.
A lot
of points.
Oh, 56 is a lot. They're begging you to take the over on that one. I mean, can you see it being 34-31? Yeah, I mean, yeah. And they're only doing that because
it was 44-34. Chiefs Bills. I mean, Seahawks Bills. Yeah, I mean, I would probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
All right, we have the New York Giants, the 2-win New York Giants. They're a game out of first place in the NFC East against the Philadelphia Eagles. They are at MetLife Stadium, and they are home dogs by 3.5.
Wow, no respect. Vegas
Alshon Jeffrey is coming back. Miles Sanders will be playing. They have Jalen Reagor back. They have Travis Fulgham. I don't think they have Ertz yet, but they have Goddard. The Giants just don't have enough. I mean, Daniel Jones just can't find Darius Slayton to save his life. He's missed him on like 4 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks. Has too many turnovers. And we heard Mikey say it on Tuesday. He's like, he's got as many turnovers as Ryan Leaf in his first 15 games. So that's obviously not a good person to emulate. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game by probably a touchdown.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, Daniel Jones, was almost like a hold your breath game last week. He didn't turn the ball over.
Dude ran 80 yards and then just tripped on himself. I mean, come on. That's not no butt fumble, but it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, look, I think he's going to give it the ball again. I mean, he just turns the ball over. Evan Ingram will drop a big pass.
Defense is a little, sneaky.
They're stout. Yeah, they play.
Yeah, and obviously they can get in on the quarterback there.
Yeah. So, but I think at the end of the day, Carson Wentz's experience and just the Eagles always find a way to win these games in MetLife Stadium or Giants Stadium. So I'm with you. I'm going with the Eagles on this one.
Yep. I think valid picks there. All right. Well, what do we got? What is this? Week 10?
This is week 10. We're about to hit week. Is it week? Yeah. Is it week 9? No. Is it week? I thought it was week 9. Is it week 10?
Week 10.
Oh, I got it wrong. Yeah.
This is going quick.
Yeah, man. It's flying quick.
Too quick. Oh, and the weekend will be performing at the Super Bowl. It was just
I saw that. Today. That's going to be interesting.
So for all you weekend fans out there, I happen to like the weekends.
Yes, too. We all do. We all love the weekends. Let me tell you.
Yeah. All right. So we will have a great slate of shows for you next week as well. Until then, please go and enjoy this weekend of NFL and college football. And we will see you Tuesday night, same places, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday of next week.
Next week a triple header, isn't it? We have a triple header next week.
We do. That's
next
right.
Week is a triple header.
We have a third episode on a Friday night next week because we will not be airing one on Thanksgiving night in 2 weeks. So that is going to take the place of it, and we will be on for Tuesday before Thanksgiving though.
Yes.
So, but just Thanksgiving we will be off. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the games. Peace.
Have a good night.